The small British town had always carried a quiet stillness, the kind that wrapped itself around the streets like a blanket. The nights were especially silent, with only the faint hum of distant traffic and the occasional rustle of the wind through the hedges. In a modest stone cottage at the end of a narrow lane lived a woman who had intentionally chosen isolation, hoping tranquility would help her forget the fragments of a past she had buried deep. For the first few months, the cottage felt comforting, safe, even. But everything changed on a bitterly cold night when the clock on her bedside table flicked to 2 a.m. A sharp, deliberate knock echoed through the house, cutting through the silence like a blade. 3 knocks. Slow. Measured. She froze, assuming it must have been a dream. But when the same knocks came again the next night, at the exact same time and with the exact same rhythm, confusion turned into uneasiness. By the end of the week, a gnawing sense of dread grew heavier inside her chest. Every night, precisely at 2 a.m., someone or something knocked 3 times on her front door. She tried to ignore it at first, hoping it would stop on its own, but the knock became a ritual. It was too precise to be random, too calm to be the work of drunk mischief-makers. Even her dog sensed something unnatural. At 1:59 a.m., it would retreat to the far corner of the room, ears pinned back, trembling softly as though it sensed a presence beyond human understanding. What disturbed her even more were the strange flickers of light. Every night, seconds before the knock, the lamps dimmed and brightened, as if something invisible passed through the wiring of the house. It was subtle, barely noticeable, but enough for her to realize the events were connected. One night, after gathering enough courage, she walked to the door after the knocking stopped. When she opened it, no one was there, but the cold outside felt different, sharper, more alert, as if the air itself had been disturbed. She was about to close the door when she noticed a small piece of folded paper lying on the doormat. The handwriting on it was unsteady, almost as though the writer had been injured or trembling. The message was brief, but chilling enough to freeze her blood. "I need your help before time runs out." Questions roared inside her mind. Who needed her help? Why contact her like this? Why at 2 a.m.? The next morning she installed a small CCTV camera pointed directly at the front door. For the first time, she felt a sliver of control. But the footage that appeared the following night only deepened the mystery. At 2 a.m. sharp, the lights flickered and the knocks came again. In the video, she saw a shadowy figure standing far back in the dim glow of a street lamp, so still it looked like a statue carved from the night. The strange part was that the figure never moved, not even slightly. It didn't approach the door. It didn't lift a hand. Yet the knocks still sounded. Clear, perfectly timed. A chill ran through her. It was as if the knocks were coming from nowhere, or from something she didn't understand. The more she watched the figure in the footage, the more she felt a haunting familiarity in its posture, its stillness, the shape of its shoulders. Something deep inside her whispered that she had seen this silhouette somewhere before, long before she moved to this quiet town. She tried to shake off the thought, refusing to open the door again at night. But the knocks continued, steady as a heartbeat, never missing a night, never breaking the pattern. Then, one night, something changed. At 2 a.m., instead of the usual 3 knocks, there was silence. The dog didn't retreat. The lights didn't flicker. For a moment she felt hope, maybe the strange ritual had ended. But then she heard a soft thud outside her door. Compelled by a mixture of fear and curiosity, she opened the door. A man lay collapsed on the doorstep, pale and exhausted, his breathing shallow. His clothes were torn, his face marked by something far more dangerous than time. He seemed as though he had been running for hours, maybe days, and had reached her home only through sheer will. His presence shattered the fragile calm of her world. Though weak, his eyes carried urgency, as if every second mattered. He began revealing pieces of a truth she never expected to hear, fragments of a crime buried long ago, covered up by people with enough power to erase evidence, silence witnesses, and rewrite history. People who still existed. People who didn't want the truth to surface. The man had been a victim of that crime, someone whose life had been destroyed by the event she had unknowingly been connected to. She had spent years trying to forget that dark chapter, believing it had died with the past. But he insisted that she was the only one left who could expose what had truly happened. She alone held the missing piece. The knocks at 2 a.m. weren't meant to frighten her, they were a signal of safety. A coded message he had used while moving in the shadows, hiding from those who hunted him. He could only move under darkness. The knocking had been his desperate attempt to reach her without being caught. Understanding this truth filled her with dread and guilt she had long buried. She realized that the past had finally caught up with her, demanding justice she had tried to avoid. She made the decision to help him, knowing it would pull her into a dangerous web she had escaped from once before. As she prepared to assist him in revealing the truth, a sudden uneasiness crept over her. The road ahead wouldn't be easy. Powerful people would come after them. The man insisted they must act fast, before he was found again. Just as she began gathering her courage, a new sound filled the quiet house, a knock. But this time, it didn't come from the front door, it came from the back, slow, deliberate, and chillingly familiar. She looked toward the dark hallway leading to the back entrance, her breath catching in her chest. The clock read 2:00 a.m. Someone else had been watching her house every night. Someone who didn't want the truth to be revealed. And now, they had arrived.